about my city, a little town where I'm from, where everybody's southern raised, just as good as they come. Backwoods and Mossy-Oak and mud holes. And back then, we only gave what the farm grow. Man, I miss some days how we played on them dirt roads. And all the towners came with respect, cause they know we all close. Yeah, Southern pride, toting gun folks. Welcome to my city, I-75 South, just north of Live Oak.
I'm from a city called Austin, Georgia, right on the border of Florida. I was raised on these dirt roads, mud tires, spin backwoods, running ride, this is small town living, yeah. Now welcome to my city, title town, 229, turn it up so they can hear it loud. We get it up with big trucks and heavy G's, pretty girls with moonshine and whiskey.
It's nothing like our dirt roads, you can bet that, son. I'm from a city, by any means, we gon' protect our guns. I hang with the rednecks and geeks. We get up in big trucks in the backwoods like Indians and TVs. This the home of the mighty, mighty Vikings. Wildcats, blazing, title town license winners. Pretty girls with country grammar. When I say about Austin, Georgia, I ain't talking about Atlanta. This a different type of city, where the woods are pretty, but get gritty. You hear me? What you know about that 229? You can find us on the Florida, Georgia line, where I reside.
I'm from a city called Austin, Georgia, right on the border of Florida. I was raised on these dirt roads, mud tires, spin backwoods, running ride, this is small town living, yeah. Now welcome to my city, town, 229, turn it up so they can hear it loud. We get it up with big trucks and heavy G's, pretty girls with moonshine and whiskey. Moonshine and whiskey.
Some folks really don't understand how important it is to never forget where you came from. You know, when I say Lowndes County, man, I mean Lowndes County.
I'm from a city called Austin, Georgia, right on the border of Florida. I was raised on these dirt roads, mud tires, spin backwoods, running ride, this is small town living, yeah. Now welcome to my city, downtown, 229, turn it up so they can hear it loud. We get it up with big trucks and heavy G's, pretty girls with moonshine and whiskey.
What's up, Lowndes County? Welcome to the Viking Nation Live. It's our weekly celebration of the One Lowndes community. I am your host, Larry Godwin. Before we get cranked up, you guys know to expect this by now. Let me go ahead and thank you to our sponsors. Let's go ahead and do this. Thank you so much to Pepsi of Valdosta, the makers and distributors of Pepsi, Mountain Dew, Rockstar, Mountain Dew Energy, Mountain Dew Spark, everything Mountain Dew. So thank you so much to Pepsi of Valdosta for being our title sponsor, sticking with us the entire year. Thank you so much to Kyle Conger at White Oak Investment. Stock market's up this week. Last week it was down. Next week, you never know what to expect. And listen, if you like to live life on the edge, then you might want to do this financial stuff yourself. But if you're looking for sound financial advice, why don't you give Kyle Conger a call? Worth a shot, right? Give him a call, 229-850-8848. Maybe he can help you. Maybe he can't. He will be straightforward and honest with you if he can provide any good advice for you. So give him a call, 229-850-8848. So thank you so much to Kyle for sponsoring the Viking Nation this year. Thank you so much to longtime friend of the show and Lowndes guy in general, Mr. Lowndes, I should call him. That's Tim Neesmith. Timmy is an owner of A Shade of Perfection, where he customizes shades and blinds and perfects that service. So if you have a need for that product or service, give him a call, 229-251-3479. Thank you so much, Tim Neesmith, for always sponsoring the Viking Nation. Thank you to these guys, the Migraine and Spine Clinic of Valdosta. These are your certified headache medicine specialists, Josh Batson and Justin Haskin. They offer a variety of migraine and back pain treatments. if you have a need for their product or service, what are you waiting for? The pain's not going to go away on its own, right? Give these guys a fighting chance and get rid of your migraine or headache with the certified headache medicine specialist at the Migraine and Spine Clinic of Valdosta. Thank you so much to Josh and Justin. Thank you to Chandler Kudik at Aqua Works Pool Company. This guy is newer on the scene, but he does his job like he's been a pro all his life, because all he does is make your pool beautiful. And that's what you hire a pool guy for. He can be your pool guy. AquaWorks Pool Company. Give Chandler a call at 229-415-0752. This is a story of Lowndes Kid made good. And that's what Chandler is. So if you have a need for his service, give him a call at AquaWorks Pool Company. Chandler Kudik, 229-415-0752. Thank you to these guys, Tony Green and Trey Hatcher at Imperial Auto Sales. If you have the need, if you are in the market for a car, don't wait any longer for interest rates to go up even higher. If you have a need for a good quality used car, give these guys a call. They've got 2 locations to service your needs. One is on Ashley Street. The other is on Bay Tree Road, Imperial Auto Sales. Give these guys a call. And then finally, the newest sponsor that we have to the show is Jason Castleberry at Case Tree Services. If your yard is still a mess, or if you just need to clear some land, if you need tree cutting and removal done right, give Jason a call at Case Tree Services. His number is 229-740-9626. Mention this ad and get free stump grinding with any tree removal. Thank you so much, Jason, for signing up with us on here, what we do at the Viking Nation Live. Thank you so much to all of our sponsors this year. And let me go ahead and bring on our super fan, or at least one of them that's available tonight. And that's our newest one, Armand Rashad. How you doing, Armand?
I'm blessed, man. I'm blessed. Just another day to be here. And just happy to be here, man, to be honest with you. So, yeah.
Just happy to be here.
Yeah.
Dude, I love the sound of that. I really do. Really do. Listen, we're not having the prettiest football year, but where else would you rather be other than Lowndes County and a Lowndes Viking? Am I right or am I right?
Man, this is what I tell everybody. On Friday nights, no place I'd rather be than with about 15,000 of my closest friends on that concrete palace every Friday night. And yeah, you're right, man. This is just something that, like, if you from here, everybody talks football, but it's no matter if you went to Lowndes or you go to this other school over there across town, everybody talks football. It don't matter who it is, they love it. And I'm no different. I'm born and raised in it, and this is what I love to do. So to come here and talk to you every weekend, every Thursday, and talk to Chase, through the group chats, man, I'm enjoying it, man. So yeah, I'm happy to be here.
Absolutely. Hey, let me go ahead and talk to our fans a little bit and go ahead and get you guys to, before I do that, I forgot to queue up my software. So as I'm doing this, don't type in #OneLounge yet, because I'm always forgetting to do something. So give me a second and let me go ahead and queue up the software. Okay, now you can do it. I'm actually changing our hashtag this week, Armand. You know why?
What's that?
Because I saw something, when I went to the game Friday night. Well, let me go ahead and put up the hashtag. Okay, so guys, we're not doing the #OneLounge tonight. We're doing something else for tonight and tonight only. Okay. So if you want to go ahead and enter in for your chance to win, Armand, we're up in the ante this week.
What we got for him?
We got 4 VSU tickets for November 11th versus one of our rivals, West Georgia. It's a 7 p.m. game that night. So 4 tickets all together, $80 value. And this was donated earlier today by Jeff Dasher. So thank you so much, Jeff, for he called me up out of the blue and said, listen, I've got some tickets. I can't use them. Why don't you just give them away on your show? I said, man, that's a great idea. Anyway,
Jeff,
so
I've known Jeff for a while. So shout out to Jeff Dasher. And also don't forget Elijah Colvin's on that team from last year's Vikings. So y'all get out there and support them.
Absolutely. So anyway, 4 tickets, that's an $80 value. We're going to throw in 2 t-shirts as well. That's another $30 value. So in this giveaway tonight, we're talking about $110 in value in giveaway to a lucky winner. So we're doing it a little bit differently tonight. So let me go ahead and tell you, I'm going to go ahead and change this right now because people are going to forget. Do not put in hashtag one lounge this week. This is what I want you to put in. Hashtag respect.
That's good.
Hashtag respect. And let me tell you, all right, you guys don't listen to instructions very well in the comments. Don't put in hashtag one lounge this week. I need you to put in hashtag respect. Okay. And Armand, here's why I want to do this. Last week, we went and drove over to Richmond Hill to a game. And I'll be honest with you, man, that was just a miserable game. Our guys did not play well for whatever reason. The field was just an awful mess. It was wet and soggy. It was a long drive over there, long drive back, especially when you don't win, like we didn't win that night. And we had some other stuff to go on. And then, it was such a long drive. I got back at like 2 a.m., went to bed, got up the next morning, and started taking a peek at some of the comments, because after every game, I always post the final score, right? And people are free to add their comments and things like that. But when I got up and read some of the comments, not some, but a lot of the comments for that game, Armand, I was disappointed in how disrespectful some people were. I'm not talking about some. Many of our fans were so disrespectful to each other, to players, to coaches, to the system, to the inability that we have of training, and they started questioning our middle school. It was just a smorgasbord of disrespect, and it was driving me nuts because I think as a community we are better than that. We preach on this show. We preach in the school system. We preach in the community all the time of one lounge. And that means that we are a family. And that means when things don't go our way, we don't turn on each other. And that's what I was seeing that night. We had fans going after fans. We had some folks that were connected to the program, not in official capacity, but some folks that were connected to the program saying to other fans that we don't want you as a fan anymore. We had some fans that have been badgering coaches all year. It's like, what? This has got to stop. This has got to stop.
I agree.
Go ahead, man.
And this is just what I'll say is that it's okay to be critical, right?
Exactly.
You can criticize, you can critique, but you have to be respectful. And a lot of times, I think people just forget that these are kids, but they also forget that these kids have parents. And
correct.
Whatever you say, whether you're talking about the kid who's on the field, know they got parents. If you're talking about the coach, know they have a family. Yeah. And so you have to just really watch what you say. And I get it. Everybody's disappointed by this year. Nobody wants to be 4-5 heading into the 10th game of the season. But it's okay. You have to learn how to win with respect, but you also have to learn how to lose with respect. And it's one of those things where I just say it all the time, just really be mindful. Like, always treat people a little better than what you want to be treated. And,
absolutely.
And if that's what you try to do, then everything will work out. But like the whole going after the coaches and whatever, I saw a lot of those comments too. And I can't even lie to you. I just kind of scroll past them and just try to stay out of that conversation. So absolutely.
So I wanted to go in and just, I'm going to spend 2 more minutes on this, and then I promise we're going to move on. I'm not going to beat this dead horse, but I wanted to make sure everybody understands the ground rules of the Viking Nation and what we are all about. You notice several weeks ago, I changed the wording underneath the picture of mine and your video on the screen, right? And it says, quote, do what is right, not what's easy. It's not easy to hold back an emotional response, right? And so that's why I tell people all the time, man, especially after a loss, Armand, just give it 24 hours because, man, I can tell you, when my kids were younger, and we have very, very high expectations in our house of making A's, B's at the lowest, that kind of stuff. Very, very high expectations. And so when our kids, especially when they were younger and I was a younger parent, I was still learning how to be a good parent. And so they would come home, and the first couple of years when we get report cards, I would just fly off the handle. I'll be honest with you. I just did. But I just learned over time that didn't help anything, right? So then what I learned was when they brought home a report card, if it did not meet my expectations, then I would just wait until the next day to address it, just to allow myself to cool down, to allow the emotion to subside a little bit, right?
And I really agree. And that's what kind of with almost everything. You don't want to be too emotional.
That's right.
I know for a fact when I'm upset, and I tend to have to walk away. I have to walk away, kind of, just separate myself from the situation for a little bit, just so I can calm down, because I know I'll say something that I don't really mean. I mean, I might mean it in that time and place, but I might not really mean it like that. So I walk away, just try to gather my thoughts and just not be emotional. Like
that's right.
So, and just have a level head. That's what you really have to do. So
that's right. So what I'm going to do in the next couple of minutes is I'm going to be, I'm just going to go ahead and display on the screen the set of guidelines that we've had on the Viking Nation almost from the beginning. These things are probably 10 plus years old, but I get the feeling that some people just don't see it, don't ever read them. Okay, here they are real quickly. Absolutely no profanity is to be used at any time while you're posting on this page. Demeaning, making fun of, or tearing down players by name, number, or position is not allowed. If you must critique, please do so in general terms. These are kids that make up our teams. In other words, they're the sons and daughters of your neighbors, your friends, and the very people that live in our community. That was to your point a while ago. Kids and their parents read the contents of this page. Ask yourself this question before criticizing. How would I like it if it were my son or daughter being ridiculed on a public page? Number 3, since coaches are adults and are government employees, and they are held to a higher standard. Therefore, criticize if you must, but keep it within reason. If you've made your point, move on. Don't keep beating a coach into the ground. If you get upset easily when one of our teams loses a competition, please practice the 24-hour rule and refrain from commenting on the event. Although you are free to comment at any time, please exercise restraint. If you disagree with another fan, do so respectfully. There is absolutely no need to lose your temper over high school sports. This is a game played by teenagers for the fans that wish we were still teenagers. We can have spirited debates, but when it looks like an argument may get out of control, it's time for you to step away from the keyboard. Post and or comments may be deleted if it's determined that it's crossed the line. Well, what's the line, you may ask? It's completely subjective. Just don't even try to come close to the line, and we don't have to worry about that. No one expects you to treat student athletes and band members like gods, but we don't have to revel in tearing them down either. Do not post vulgar images on this page. This page is open to the public, but exists for the enjoyment of our Lowndes athletic community. If you are a fan from an opposing fan base, please be respectful when you comment on this page. Comments that are meant to incite a reaction or trolling may be removed at any time. And that's the last I'll say that. Just be respectful. Okay? That's all. Just be respectful.
Oh, yeah.
Make sense? Is that fair?
Perfect.
Okay. All right. So let's get on with the rest of the show. We talked about the tickets giveaway, 2 T-shirts, 4 tickets to the Valdosta State versus West Georgia game. And that's Saturday, November 11th at 7 p.m. at Bazemore Hyder Football Stadium. Okay. So anyway, all right, let's talk about some of the things that's happening around the state before we get into the tiebreaker and the potential for different scenarios that could play out tomorrow night. And just to go ahead and let our fans know, at 7:30, we're expecting Rashawn Benjamin, the head coach of the Lowndes basketball boys team, to be calling in to talk about the upcoming season. They've got a special tournament that's coming up early in the season that he wants to let the fans know about. Anyway, so we're going to have him on for a few minutes, talk about his upcoming season and start to transition into different types of other sports that Lowndes athletics, because it's a big and very successful Lowndes athletic program. And we are trying our best to expand what we do in covering not just football, but other Lowndes sports as well. So we'll get into the bracketology, but in a few minutes, we're going to have Rashawn Benjamin call into the show. Okay. Armand.
Yes, sir.
I don't know if you saw this, but we've got some kids that are signing next week from the baseball team and the softball team. So congratulations to these 5 fine student athletes: Tate Sermons, Carson Page, Noah Thigpen with the Lowndes baseball team. Obviously, you guys remember they won a state championship this year. So congratulations to these guys for committing officially next week to play for Ole Miss, for Georgia Tech, and for Troy University, respectively. Congratulations to these 2 Lowndes Vikings softball girls. They are Channing Smith and Camden Anders. I think Channing might be going, is that Georgia Southwestern? I think that's Georgia Southwestern College, and Camden is going to Georgia Tech, it looks like. So congratulations. That signing ceremony for the baseball team is going to be on November 8th at 3:30 at the Lowndes High School Performing Arts Center. And the Vikings will be signing on November 10th. That's a Friday at 2 p.m. at the Lowndes High School cafeteria. So congratulations to these great athletes.
Yeah. Congratulations to them. We've been turning them out since around 96. Since 96, we've been sending them. Started with the Drews.
Yeah.
Taylor, and it just keeps going. So congratulations to those fine those 5 great student athletes, and go out there and represent. Go Vikings. And we're going back to back this year. I'm calling it early. Back baseball champions. I'm gonna go ahead and call it.
Oh, we'll explain that scenario here in a few minutes. So let's go ahead and talk about the potential not potential reclassification, but the potential new Region 1-6A. Yes, I knew Behringer would catch that. I forgot to turn my mute off. He says, can't hear you. But Behringer, take that. You misspelled cannot. So there you go. Okay, so let's talk about the reclassification. It came out yesterday. And some people were surprised, even though we've been talking on this show about reclassification for like 3 or 4 months now, and talked about the possibility of this happening. And the way it is, we kind of expected this, but look at the potential new Region 1-6A, Armand. 8 potential teams: Lowndes, Camden County, Richmond Hill, Valdosta, Colquitt County, Tift County, Effingham County, and Houston County. So, you got a question?
I like it. That's it.
I like it too. Now, there is a potential that 2 of those may not make the final cut. And that's the bottom 2 on the list: Effingham County and Houston County. Here's why. The appeals that schools are allowed to do. Sterling Hobbs says audio is gone. You can hear me, right, Armand?
Okay.
Yeah. So that was a couple of minutes ago. So it should be okay by now, Sterling. I had the mute button on, so everything should be okay. So anyway, so check this out, Armand. I plotted it out. Look how big this potential new Region 1-6A is. It's basically everything south of Macon.
Yeah.
All the way to the coast. Right?
Yeah.
So that's 8 teams. Now, the 2 that I picked are in the top 2 corners, the right-hand corner and the left-hand corner. The right-hand corner is Effingham County. Okay, they've got the orange circles around it. And the left-hand corner, upper left-hand corner, is Houston County. Okay. So, and the chart that you see in the middle is the mileage chart, or the mileage table, I should say. And it lists all the miles between the different schools. So I went ahead and took the time to actually chart out all the miles. So if you take a look at, don't pay attention to Houston and Effingham right now. If you take a look at Richmond Hill, okay, it's to the farthest point. Richmond Hill currently has to travel 169 miles to Lowndes High School, 166 miles to Valdosta, and 178 miles to Colquitt County. That's 3 trips, right? So then they just make the coast, and they have still a pretty good drive down the coast to Camden County. So here's why I'm bringing this up, because Effingham County is going to appeal being in this region, and they're going to choose to use the GHSA's isolation rule, which basically says if you are isolated from any other close school and you've got over, I think, 100 miles to drive and that kind of stuff, and it's excessive with a number of teams in the region, then it could be possible that we could move you down a classification to get you closer to other schools in the area. And Effingham County has been able to successfully argue that in the past. Now, the reason I went over Richmond Hill's mileage is Effingham County is not that much farther than Richmond Hill. So if Effingham County is allowed to make an isolation argument, I don't know why Richmond Hill can't make that same argument.
You're right, because they're like Richmond Hills is right outside of Fort Hinesville.
Yeah, it's that circle, just the right-hand corner of the screen, right south of Savannah. It's right below Effingham County.
And you're right, that is a miserable drive, especially got to ride through Little Wissy. But that's a miserable drive. And yeah, that's a lot of travel. So that does put a lot of stress on not only the parents and the students, but the athletic department as a whole, because it's just not football.
That's right.
Basketball, baseball, soccer, all these other things. So that is something to consider. So I can respect it, but I also respect Richmond Hill for saying, you know what, we're going to play it anyway.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. So I don't know how I feel about having Effingham in there, just because, man, that's just another long road trip. Right? Now, obviously, we're not going to have to make all these road trips every year. I mean, I would imagine the ADs of this region would get together and do it basically half and half. So you would probably go kind of like what we do with Camden and Richmond Hill now. This year we went to Richmond Hill and Camden comes to us. Last year, Richmond Hill came to us and we went to Camden. So it'll probably be something similar, right? So anyway, but it is a large geographical region, 8 teams that basically covers everything south of Macon.
Yeah, that's wild. But as a student, I would have loved it. I wouldn't even lie. I mean, we're getting out of school early, and yeah, I would have loved it. I can't even lie to you. But as a parent,
yeah, absolutely. But I do like the idea of having 8 teams in the new Region 1-6A, mainly because did I miss his call? Shoot. Oh no, I didn't. Just wanted to make sure I didn't miss Coach Benjamin's call. So mainly because that would give us 7 region games, and that means we only have to find 3 non-region games, which is a lot easier to do. Because I hear coaches complain all the time, not just Lowndes coaches, but Valdosta, Coffee County, Thomas County. I hear all these schools with smaller regions complain about having to find 4, 5, 6 non-region games. And it's a real struggle, especially if you're trying to maximize the number of home games that you have so you can maximize your revenue that you get from ticket sales. Here's Coach Benjamin now. Hey, Coach, welcome to the Viking Nation Live, man. How are you?
Pretty good. Hey, thanks for having me.
You're welcome, Coach. Thanks for calling in tonight.
Yes, sir.
Listen, I wanted to let you know that we've got another super fan on the line with us tonight. His name is Armand Rashad. So he's going to be helping me. He's going to be helping me with your interview tonight. Just wanted to go ahead and give you a heads up.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Nice to meet you, Mr. Ahmad.
Hey, nice to meet you. In fact, you've known me for a long time. We'll get into that a little bit later. So.
Armand's been around. He's been a staple of Lowndes High School. Used to be a football player years and years ago. Well, Armand, did they have leather helmets when you played at Lowndes?
Nah, man, we just had silver leaders, man. We had
silver helmets. Sorry about that. Sorry about
that. And silver breeches. That's what we had.
I hear you, man. I hear you. Well, let's go ahead, and since we got Coach Rashawn on the phone, Benjamin on the phone, let's go ahead and talk about Lowndes basketball for a few minutes. Coach, you're coming off of a pretty good season, although it didn't end quite the way that you wanted to last year. You lost a heartbreaker in a playoff game against, I believe it was Pebblebrook, right? It was like a two-point game.
Correct. Yes, sir. That's correct. That's correct. They actually beat us at the buzzer.
That's right. Beat you at the buzzer. What a heartbreaker.
Yeah, it was tied. It was tied with about 4 seconds left, and the guy inbounded the ball and he dribbled the length of the floor and hit a bank shot right as the horn expired. So, that's one of those situations, if you don't mind me going into it in depth.
Yes, sir.
2 years ago in 2022, we played Norcross in the second round, and they beat us by 6, I believe. And then last year we lose to Pebblebrook at the buzzer. Both of those teams were Final Four teams.
Mm-hmm.
Both of those teams are perennially known every year to be state playoff contenders every year.
That's right.
And so, the first year we lose to Norcross by 6, and then we lose to Pebblebrook at the buzzer. You don't want to lose, and it's heartbreaking, but at the same time, you see the steps of progression. And so, looking at the situation from afar, that's what I see. I see we lost, I see it hurt, but at the same time, as a program, we're taking the right steps. And sometimes you got to go through these heartaches to get to where you're trying to get through. So that's what we're building on for this year.
Yeah, I hear you, Coach. I hear you. So Coach, you're coming off of two really good seasons, although it didn't end the way that you wanted to, and that means you had some really, really good players. You had some good starters, good guys coming off the bench. But I saw you at the Wintersville Classic, and you were telling me that you graduated a lot of players. So talk about your team coming up this season.
Yeah, so anytime you lose the region player of the year and an all-state guy, trying to fulfill his production is really going to be a task. So this year we're going to be more win by committee. So returning this year in the starting lineup, we have 2 returning starters. One of them is number 12, Keyshawn Arthur. Keyshawn is our point guard. He's been an all-region guy for the past couple of years. Keyshawn is one of those type guys that he's exciting to watch because he sees 2 and 3 plays ahead.
Yeah.
And he's about 5'10", maybe 5'11", but he plays like he's 6'3", 6'4", has a lot of heart. The other guy returning in the starting lineup is Ruben Compton. Ruben is a sharpshooter. And right now, Ruben is literally shooting the ball from the volleyball line.
Ooh.
Yeah. And in our early morning workouts, that's what we work on. He's been working on being consistent and comfortable from the volleyball line. But he's another guy. He was an all-region second team member last year, and we're looking at him to progress it, to get into the first team or even offensive player of the year this year, with his shooting prowess.
Wow.
We also have Cam Jackson. Cam Jackson is a junior. Now, Cam Jackson is a lot like DeMarcus Black of last year. Cam Jackson will make you stand up out of your seat.
Okay.
He's a high riser. He's the one that gets the crowd pumped up with those Showtime dunks. He's elusive. He's very athletic, and he's maturing into being a leader as well. We also have Rashad Adams. He's another one that'll make you get out your seat. So Cam may be 6'3", Rashad may be about 6'4", 6'5". And both of those guys are super duper athletic, and they're college prospects. Now we got some young guys stepping into some roles. Caden Brown, he's our 6'5" sophomore. Caden Martin, he's a 6'5" sophomore. Holden Hires, he's a junior. He's one of our backup point guards. And Isaiah Kamen transferred in from Lanier County. He's a 6'2" guard who can just really score the ball. So although we lost a lot from our seniors last year, we got some guys who I would say are used to winning.
Okay.
And as you know, winning and losing is habitual. So, you know, when you've already created those habits of winning with those younger guys and they step into those roles, they understand the expectations and they understand what it takes.
Yep.
So we're excited.
Well, Coach, I can identify with Keyshawn. You said that he's 5'11", plays like he's 6'3". Well, Coach, let me tell you, I'm 230 pounds and I walk around like I'm 180 pounds. Probably not quite the same thing.
Yes, sir. Love to hear it. Love to hear it.
Well, it sounds like you lost a lot of talent, but you've got some untested talent coming in. Would that be fair to say?
That's accurate. That's very accurate. And you know, this is why we do some of the things we do in the off season. You know, we had a strong summer schedule where we probably played about 20 to 25 games just in the month of June alone. Spent a lot of time in Atlanta, spent a lot of time down there in Florida, playing some high quality competition. And so, although you can't speed up that process of getting them ready to play real varsity competition as we do in the season, you do as much as you can in the off season. And so, they're untested in terms of they haven't gone through the Region 178 gauntlet. But at the same time, we've seen some good competition in the offseason that's got us ready for Region 178 play.
Absolutely. So, Coach, your season tips off in just a couple of weeks, in November 18th against Bainbridge. But you've got something that's coming up where you're hosting your own tournament, right?
Yeah. Well, there's a couple of things. Actually, the season actually starts. We have our first scrimmage next Thursday, November 9th.
Okay.
And then the first regular season game is November 11th against Windsor Forest.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so the season will tip off next week. But we are having two unique situations take place this year. Our annual Charles Cooper Invitational will be November 20th and 21st. And we got married persons coming from Forsyth County. We got Episcopal out of Jacksonville. We got Robert F. Monroe out of Quincy, Florida. So we got some good teams coming from out of town to give us a good test. And then we also have, now we're excited about this now. We're calling it our first annual Battle Off Exit 18 showcase. And with this, the philosophy behind Battle Off Exit 18 is when you look at the city of Valdosta, when you come off Exit 18, to me, it really represents the city of Valdosta. You know, you got the mall, you got every eating restaurant you want to see in town. You got VSU, you got the Blazers, and then you have us, Lowndes High School. And so we just wanted to open up, not just showing the city a really good opportunity at some good basketball, but we also wanted to show our out-of-town people who are coming in what the city of Valdosta has to offer.
Absolutely.
And so we've been able to partner with Outback Steakhouse, Chick-fil-A, Wild Adventures, you know, just to name a few. And we have some really good teams coming in for this one. We got Miami South Ridge out of Miami, Florida, Berkeley Prep out of Tampa, Florida, Green Forest Academy out of Atlanta, Williston High School out of the Gainesville, Florida area. And all these teams are deep. They made a deep run in the playoffs last year.
That's right.
And so with that being said, you know, I always felt like for us to get to the goals that we want to accomplish, that we have to go through that Metro Atlanta gauntlet. And that's true. But at the same time, if we continue to take care of business like we have been doing these last couple of years, then Metro Atlanta has to come to us.
Absolutely. Coach, listen, Armand, this is a pretty, you know, you get between the two tournaments, Coach, you've got an impressive, strong, I guess, non-region schedule just off the bat. And I was asking you last year, the reason why you like to focus on getting some really strong teams up front in your season is it really, really even if you lose, it makes your team stronger. And we saw that when you hit the region schedule last year. I mean, your team played really, really well. Am I wrong or right on that one?
You're absolutely right. And that's what's happened the last couple of years. We've been able to play really good teams, you know, before we get to region play. And it's all about, we like to break the season down into 3 different segments.
Yeah.
And so you got your pre-region play with your Thanksgiving and your Christmas tournaments.
Yeah.
and then you got region play, and then you got the postseason with playoffs. And so in the game of basketball, it only matters when you get to January and February. You can lose every game November and December, but when you get to January and February, when you're playing region games and then you're trying to solidify seeding for the state playoffs, you know, that's when it really matters. And
Absolutely.
so a slogan that we've adopted a couple of years ago was, you know, region games count twice.
Absolutely.
You know, so that there's twice the level of film, there's twice the level of focus and practice, there's twice the level of paying attention to detail. So we treat it that way. So that's why we prepare like we do in November and December.
Absolutely. Coach, I know it's not basketball, but, you know, one of the sports that I love to follow is college football. And I've heard Coach Kirby Smart talk about, and his players, Armand, talk about how difficult their practices are. And so by the time they hit the game, it's nowhere near as difficult as their practice. I mean, it sounds like you kind of set up your non-region schedule kind of like following that philosophy. It may be difficult to face these top tier teams, but it makes your team so much better for the games that really count, and that's the region games.
Absolutely, but well put. And Kirby Smart is a genius. You know, just listening to him talk, man, he has a lot of good content that he puts out there. And I'll go ahead and say this now. I'm not a Georgia fan. I'm Ohio State Buckeye guy.
Lord. Coach, it was nice talking to you. See you later.
and I know a lot of people are upset when we jumped them to get the number 1 seed in the polls this past week.
Armand, what did we do? Oh, good gosh.
Hey, let me just say this.
You have a Buckeye on the phone here.
Just like you tell your team, you know, it don't matter till January. So you got to take it to
Absolutely.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Coach,
Absolutely.
listen, speaking of your Buckeyes, you got that one receiver that y'all count on all the time.
Yes,
Is he well enough to play now?
He's well enough.
I just want to make sure. Just making sure.
Even if we have to slow roll him until we get to Michigan, we'll do that. But he's for sure. And it's been this way for the past 2 or 3 years with Ohio State. It's wide receiver university. You know, and he's just the next guy up. But to your point about what Kirby Smart said about being battle tested, you know, we do a lot of rigorous things in practice as well, but I just got to speak to our culture. You know, in the past 2 or 3 years, the culture of basketball has shifted tremendously. Like I have guys texting me every night, Coach, can I come in the gym 6:30 tomorrow and work on my jump shot?
Love to hear that.
Coach, I got guys who will forego going to the football game and they want to come in the gym and get up shots, you know, at 8 o'clock at night during the football game.
Wow.
And so these guys have begun to understand what it takes. And I just can't say thank you enough to the Lowndes County community because they've been doing a lot of things to help us support in that regard. Like we just got brand new lockers in our locker room. We got brand new carpet in our locker room. And so now the locker room, since we spend so much time in that place and the place has become sacred, the guys want to be there. Like I got guys who are coming in and take a nap, you know, after practice or when they finish early morning workouts, they'll lay on the floor and take a nap. And so the culture tremendously has shifted from the weight training to the conditioning to, you know, the study hall. Like everything we do surrounding the game brings us back to it. So,
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Coach, you mentioned last question and we'll let you go. You mentioned how important the community is. You know, something that we've really tried to promote on this show and throughout our organization, the Viking Nation, is this one Lowndes concept. It's more than a concept, but I view it as a principle that describes our community. And I bring this up because I saw a comment by one of our viewers tonight. You know him well, Coach Kevin Wisham. He says, your boys the strongest group to hit the floor. Looking forward to seeing them ball. And he is an example of what I'm talking about. When I saw you at the Wintersville Classic on the sideline there, it dawned on me that you coaches, whether it's a basketball coach, baseball, softball, football, strength and conditioning, fan support, you guys take this one Lowndes principle pretty seriously. We are a community here. And so talk about how important the one Lowndes principle is to you.
Super, super, super duper important. In fact, it's so important that we've even started it as one of our new logos. And so there's a 1 and an L, and it's boxed up, with lines around it. And
Love
so we
it.
got it in our locker room. We got it on our T-shirts. We're going to put it on some of the walls in the gym. And to your point about, Kevin Wisham, we just can't say enough about him and every other teacher and coach in our Lounge community. And so, you'll see the baseball coach at a volleyball game.
Yeah.
You'll see the tennis coach at a softball game. And so that love is always transpired throughout the community. And I think it's what makes, our school and our community special.
Absolutely.
And I don't mean to get too deep when I say this, but Mr. Godwin, the Bible says that a triple braided cord is not easily broken.
Ooh.
And so, when we reinforce ourselves with like-mindedness, with a sense of unity, and all of that is wrapped around a sense of purpose, this is the end result you get. The end result you get is 13 region championships.
That's right.
The end result you get is baseball winning the state championship last year.
That's right.
This is the end result. And now we all have adopted the mentality that winning region now is to be expected.
Correct.
And so now we're all gunning for state championships.
Absolutely. So region titles are the baseline, right? That's the starting point. And so it's great to have these super high expectations. And this is Lounge. This is one Lounge. We expect super high expectations. But what I've been talking about lately on the show, Coach, is, sometimes the biggest plans that we have as a community, as an athletic program, it just doesn't work out. Sometimes we just play better teams that beat us for whatever reason.
Absolutely.
And so when that happens, it's okay to get upset. It's okay to question coaches. It's okay. Just be respectful and come back together as a family, figure out what we got to do to get better and move forward together. Right.
Yeah. And I agree. And I think we all have to keep in mind that some of the best things in life take time.
Yeah.
We all have this kind of microwave, want success quick.
That's right.
But the best things take time, and the time that's put in, whenever it amounts to what we're going after, it's a beautiful thing.
Absolutely, Coach. So, listen, for the viewers that's watching, Armand, you see me on the screen. It took 52 years to make this, right?
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of time, right?
Absolutely, Coach. Absolutely.
And so, sometimes it requires a great deal of patience. Sometimes it requires going through adversity. But the biggest thing and what we talk about as a program is, when things don't go right, who are you?
Right.
Right? Like who are you?
Ooh, I love that question. Who are you?
And you can take that from, an instance in a game. When we turn the ball over, who are we? Do we pout and sulk, or do we sprint back on defense and try to make sure we get a stop? And those same principles equate to life. Like when things don't go right, who are you?
That's right.
Like we just had the hurricane devastate our community, unlike ever before.
That's
but
right.
Who are we? And so, do we still come together as a community? And I like words, man. And the word community really comes from a Latin word, communis, and that word means to share.
There you go.
And so as a community, we share the same place of residence, but on top of that, we share a sense of unity, a sense of love, a sense of wanting each other to exceed and be successful.
Absolutely.
And so at Lounge, this is what has made us special. This is what has started the winning tradition. And it's only the beginning. We have great things in store.
Well, Coach, when we originally scheduled you to call into the show a couple of weeks ago, I didn't realize it would take our conversation would take this kind of turn to talk about our community and what we can do to rally behind it. But I'm really glad it did. I think it was a divine intervention, and I appreciate you calling in tonight.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me. I appreciate you always, Larry Godwin.
Thank you, Coach.
Yes, sir.
Bye-bye. Man, Armand, I'm jacked up after that call, man.
Man, let me just say this. That was I'm so happy and proud of him. Like I said, I've known him since he was a little boy.
Yeah.
I think his dad actually baptized me. So So I would say this: I'm proud of Rashawn, and I'm also just proud of just what he's turned, Lowndes into as far as a basketball program.
That's right.
6-2 in the region last year, won the region. And let me just say this: when I was in school there, man, we weren't good at basketball, man. We we weren't good at basketball. I played my ninth grade and sophomore year. Played basketball like I played football. Fast, just fast and very physical. I had 5 fouls and I knew it. And I'm gonna get you five good fouls, maybe 2 or 3 points. But you just gotta commend Coach Benjamin on what he's done with this program. He's done a fantastic job, and I know it's just more heights, new heights are coming.
That's right. Listen, we were talking about Jeff Dasher a while ago, Armand. He says, this man got me wanting to suit up and play, strap my helmet on and an oxygen tank on my back with a nasal cannula. Jeff, we're right there with you, man. We might we could be the oxygen tank brigade. How about that?
Oh yeah, man. We got it, but we got to get out there and support. I didn't get a chance to go last year, but I'm gonna make it a point to make it to a couple of games. Because I did not get a chance to make any games last year, but yeah, Jeff, bring me a little pass the oxygen mask. I'm gonna need it too, because I actually want to get out there and play as well.
Absolutely. So before Coach Benjamin called in, Armand, we were talking about the new potential or the potentially new region that we have now. I think a lot of people noticed when the classification numbers came out yesterday that our friends up in Coffee County all of a sudden found themselves in 3A. And I saw that. It's like, there's no way. There is no way. And it turns out the GHSA did make a mistake. So I sent an email off to the GHSA yesterday afternoon. It's like, is this right? Because I think the freshman academy over in Douglas was just overlooked and not included in their numbers. And Steve Figueroa replied to me, and I saw that reply this morning. He says, well, you're right. And so we went ahead and made the correction. And so anyway, so that's been corrected. Coffee County is going to find itself in 5A, along with, now it's going to be interesting. The 5A teams are going to be, let's see. So you got Brunswick, South Effingham, Veterans, Northside Warner Robins, Bradwell Institute, Lee County, Glenn Academy, Warner Robins, Thomas County Central, and Statesboro and Coffee County. So now all of those teams are not going to be in one region because that's like 11 teams.
Yeah.
So that's like 11 teams. So let's go ahead and go back to the phone line. Hey, caller, welcome to the Viking Nation Live. What's on your mind?
LG, it's your favorite super fan, man.
Our other super fan. So I think you told me middle school basketball started tonight. So that's where you are tonight. So you're just now leaving the game and calling into the program.
Yeah, well, I mean, we left the game a little while ago. Just been running around doing some errands, taking kids home, and this, that, and the third. It was a rough outing for Hayhire, good outing for Fire and Grove. They got some athletes on the floor on both sides for sure.
Okay.
Fire and Grove's got a couple they can go get, 6, 8, 10 points apiece, and they rebounded well, pressed really well, which was surprising. Because middle school balls are really not, as far as the county schools, are really not known for pressing.
Right.
They forced an immense amount of turnovers off of a full court press. Looked more like a 2-2-1 diamond press, but I mean they ran it to perfection. But I mean, as far as basketball goes, I mean the future looks bright for Lowndes if these kids can stay in the program, stay healthy.
Sure,
I mean,
sure.
That's another thing. Just like the football program needs to trickle down into the middle school, the basketball program needs to trickle down into the middle schools. Whatever the high school is running, whatever their philosophies, their schemes are, the middle school coaches need to be running that as well.
Yeah, I agree. Hey, listen, when you called in, Armand and I were getting ready to wrap up the discussion on reclassification. And so we were going over the 5A schools, and I was just in the middle of talking about, I believe there's 11 teams south of Macon that fits the 5A numbers. And so it's interesting, guys, that 5 of them are on the coast and 5 of them are basically in south to southwest Georgia. So I think this is in my mind. I think what the GHSA is probably going to do is create 2 different regions, one over here and one on the coast. Now, the interesting point to that is Coffee County basically straddles both of those areas, right? So they could go either way. I predict that Coffee County is probably going to petition, if there's going to be 2 regions created in 5A, they'll probably petition to play with the coastal region because that's probably a little bit closer for them. Now,
yeah, maybe. I don't know.
There ain't no maybe about it. If you had, let me put it this way. I was being nice with those comments. Okay. So if you had your choice, if you're Coffee County, if you had your choice, would you want to play with Brunswick, South Effingham, Bradwell Institute, Glen Academy, and Statesboro, or would you want to be in a region with Veterans, Northside Warner Robins, Lee County, Warner Robins, and Thomas County Central?
Yeah, I'd probably take the coastal region too.
Exactly right.
Exactly. It'd be an easier trip to the playoffs and a definite number 1 seed with a home and a bye.
Absolutely. And listen, I love Coach Mike Coe up there in Coffee County. He's a very smart man, and he's done wonders with that program. They've got a big game, a rivalry game tomorrow night against Ware County. But he's a very smart coach, and I think that he is going to choose to go with the coastal region. Greg Maddox says, LG, you forgot about Ware. That makes 12 teams. Not exactly. Ware County has 4A numbers in the next reclassification cycle, and it's not even close. They've got, including the multiplier, they've got 1,620 kids. Now, the smallest 5A school is going to be Allatoona, and they've got 1,796 kids. So Ware County is going to be, they've got 4A numbers. And I'm glad you brought that up, Greg Maddox, because Ware has got a decision to make, because the closest schools, guys, that fit that 5A number that Ware could be a region of, check out this potential region, how far these schools are from each other. Perry High School in Perry, Georgia, Ware County, Jones County, which is above Warner Robins. I think it's just slightly northeast of Macon. Then you got New Hampstead, which is over on the coast in Savannah. Then you got Wayne County and Jessup. So Ware County has got a decision to make. They're not going to be able to move down. There's no way the GHSA is going to allow them to claim isolation to move down to 3A. So they could elect to move up to 5A. And if they choose to move up to 5A, then that could adversely affect Coffee County, because if Ware County elects to play up to 5A, they're closer to the coast. They'll probably be assigned to that region, and Coffee County, just to keep competitive balance, would probably be assigned to the region over here. That's my thinking anyway. So Ware County's got a decision to make. If Ware County makes that decision, then I would suspect that Wayne County, Jessup, would probably elect to play up in 5A as well. So a lot of moving parts, guys. A lot of moving parts.
Yeah, still a lot of wrinkles they got to iron out. Sure.
Now, the interesting thing is, if you get a number of these 4A schools that elect to move up, right? Like, let's say you have 3 or 4 of these. Let's say, for example, you have 4 of these 4A schools elect to move up to 5A. The GHSA bylaws are written so that says this: if you've got 4 teams that elect to move up to 5A, then the 4 smallest schools in 5A can elect to move down to 4A.
Oh, wow. Wow.
So in that situation, you could potentially have Thomas County Central because they're the fourth smallest school in 5A. They could elect to move down to 4A if some of these things work out like I think they might work out. So it's going to be interesting. Cole Moore, we might be getting on to Cole saying, hey, Cole, what's the deal with TCC moving down to 4A? Are y'all scared or something?
Nah, they ain't scared. That's for sure.
Yep.
That's
Absolutely.
a powerhouse.
Absolutely. So we'll have a lot more to talk about when it comes to reclassification. The appeals are going to happen next week, and I would imagine there's going to be a number of appeals to get through. But I'm expecting those appeals to be finished probably by the end of next week, hopefully by the time we have next week's show. So we'll just have to wait and see. Okay, so let's go ahead and get to the tiebreaker scenario. So I've heard all kinds of wild things like, okay, so Lowndes has got to win by 30, or what if Lowndes does this? What if Lowndes does that? Here's the deal, guys. If we lose, we're out. We don't have to worry about a tiebreaker, right? If we beat Camden County, that sets us up for a possible. So just to win tomorrow night doesn't guarantee us a spot. Why? Because it throws us into a three-way tie, assuming that I misspelled Richmond Hill. Assuming that Richmond Hill loses to Colquitt County, and that's probably a safe assumption, wouldn't you bet? Wouldn't you think? Because Richmond Hill has to go to Moultrie tomorrow night.
I'd be willing to bet money on Colquitt County on that one, and I'm not a betting man.
Yeah. So here's the deal. Assuming that Richmond Hill loses to Colquitt, we beat Camden. Okay. It sets up a three-way tie because all three of these teams are going to have one win in the region, and they all beat each other. Okay. Then it comes down to the region tiebreaker, which is this. It's points allowed to not just each other, but points allowed to all playoff teams and teams in consideration for the playoffs. So that means basically everybody in our region. Okay. Yeah. That makes sense?
Yep.
So if that's the case, to date, Richmond Hill has allowed 73 points to their opponents in our region. Camden County has given up 94 points. Lowndes, unfortunately, has given up 126 points. That's a lot of points to overcome. Okay. So look at that differential if it goes into a tiebreaker. Okay. So you're talking about 126 points minus 73. That's 53 points to overcome. Keep that number in mind, because I'm going to throw up a spreadsheet here that I created. Hold on one second. Let's see. Okay, where is it? Tiebreaker. Okay, here we go. Okay, so here is the spreadsheet. Can y'all see that?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger here. Oops, not that screen. This one. Okay, so everybody can see that now. Okay, so here's the points allowed. 73, 94, and 126. Now, this column here I created called Allows Friday. That means that Richmond Hill may allow X number of points against Colquitt. So if they allow 54 points against Colquitt County, and Camden plays Lowndes, and Camden gives up 33 points to Lowndes County, right? And Lowndes gives up 0 points to Camden. So in other words, if we win tomorrow night and we win by 33, let's say we win by 33 points. And this example, it will be 33-0. Okay. So that would give us 126 points given up. And that would give Camden 127 points given up. And if Colquitt County scores 54 points on Richmond Hill, that would give Richmond Hill giving up 127 points. In this scenario, Lowndes would take the third seed. Is that clear?
Makes sense.
Okay, makes sense, right? Now, here's the deal. What's the odds? Let's be honest. What's the odds of us beating Camden County? I like our odds, but what's the odds of us beating them by 33-0? Probably pretty small.
No, they hold the ball.
Yeah, I mean, we could score. We could score against Camden for sure.
But here's the trick. Assuming that we still beat Camden, for every point that Camden County scores, we have to up it by 33 points.
So,
yeah,
just Best case scenario, Colquitt shuts out Richmond Hill, and we
Yeah.
beat Camden by 53 points or 54 points.
Say that again now.
So the best case scenario for us, right,
Yeah.
to make it to the playoffs, Colquitt shuts out Richmond Hill, and we beat Camden 54-0. That's the best case scenario to make it to the playoffs.
Well, no, not necessarily. Not necessarily. I mean, it's an easier case. We don't have to beat Camden by 54. We all we have to do is beat Camden. Okay. But we're going to need some help regardless. And in this scenario, however many points, let's say, for example, let's say Camden scores 10 points on us. Okay. So that brings up our point total of allowing points to region teammates to our counterparts. We would give up 136 points. Okay. But so you see in this column, that puts us behind. You see that? That puts us behind. So for every point that Camden scores on us, we have to up that by 33 points. Okay. So in this scenario, we have to score 43 points. Okay.
Yeah.
And in this scenario, Colquitt County would have to score 64 points on Richmond Hill. That's the tiebreaker scenario. It's very, very slim. But so the best case scenario, I'm telling you, the best case scenario is we beat Camden County by 33-0, and Colquitt scores 54 on Richmond Hill. It doesn't matter how many points Richmond Hill scores, but Colquitt has to score at least 54 points tomorrow night in order for us to win the tiebreaker and take the third seed, Armand. Okay, just this scenario is just to take the third seed. Now, for us to take the fourth seed and just make the playoffs, period. Okay, we have to beat Camden, and we have to count on Richmond Hill winning this tiebreaker. Okay, does that make sense?
Yeah.
So if we beat Camden and we can't win the third seed, then we need Richmond Hill to win the tiebreaker to take the third seed. And if that's the case, then the record goes back to a head-to-head Lowndes versus Camden. And if we beat Camden tomorrow night, we're in and Camden's out. Does that make sense?
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. I know that was clear as mud, but anyway, that's basically what has to happen tomorrow. So a lot of moving pieces tomorrow night.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and Colquitt can easily beat Richmond Hill by 60.
Yeah, but here's the deal, guys. If we don't beat Camden by at least 33 points tomorrow night, then we don't need Colquitt County to score 60 points. We need them to score like 30 points or something like that. Because if we don't beat Camden by 33 points, we need Richmond Hill to win the tiebreaker. And in order for them to win the tiebreaker, they need to keep Colquitt from scoring a lot of points. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So in one situation, and this makes it very difficult on us, but I'm just explaining to you how it works out. In one scenario, we want Colquitt to score a lot of points, but we have to beat Camden by 33. In the other scenario, if we don't beat Camden by 33, then we don't want Colquitt to score a lot of points.
Okay. Well, I mean, it could go either way with Richmond Hill. They're a very ground heavy team, and they do a lot of clock control, so they're going to limit your possessions. So, I mean, that's probably the scenario we kind of want to bank on, to be honest with you. So,
yeah.
Given the way Richmond Hill played against us, they're very ground heavy, and I'm sure Armand would agree. They're very, very ground heavy.
Right.
And so they're going to limit your possessions on offense via their offense.
And Camden is too. So you got two teams that have an identical attack. Not identical as far as scheme, but philosophy.
Yeah.
Lean on you, pound on you, control the clock. So scoring a lot of points against those teams, it's not because the offense can't. It's just that they might not have the opportunity to. So that's kind of the thing that kind of plays, a big role in it. So
yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay, so I want to go ahead and answer one of these questions that someone threw out there. I think it was Lauren. Let's see, where was that question? I think the question was, where was it? Oh, here it is. Okay, Lauren says, honestly, any chance Carter leaves Lowndes at season end with the situations that happen this season? Every public comment that I've heard Adam Carter make, even on the coaches show last night with Marty Rogers, the one that he hosted, Coach Carter has given every public indication that he loves it here. So he's not going to choose to leave. Now, on the flip side, I was been asked a number of times this week, how happy is the administration with Adam Carter? Are they patient enough with him? Are they going to let him stick around? Listen, guys, there is 0% chance. Let me go ahead and repeat this. There is 0% chance the administration is going to fire Adam Carter at the end of this year because they're rational people. Listen, we've talked about it ad nauseum on the show. How many coaches have we had in the last 4 or 5 years? We've had 4 coaches in 5 years. This program, if anything else, I don't care what you think of Adam Carter. This program, more than anything, needs stability right now. And like Coach Carter, you don't like Coach Carter, you might as well just jump on board. And I get it. I get it. Many of you are disappointed at the results, the outcomes that we have because of what we talked about with Coach Benjamin. Super high expectations, that kind of stuff. And it's fine to have those expectations. But with the upheaval that the program has had over the last several years, not just this year and last year, but the last several years with player discipline and that kind of stuff, guys, we find ourselves, we are where we are. Now, am I happy with Coach Carter's 3-3 stack defense? No, not necessarily, but I'm not a coach. That's not my call. As a fan, it's okay for me to get upset and disagree. That's kind of stuff, but it's not my football team. He's the one that gets to choose which defensive scheme, offensive scheme, that kind of stuff. But I don't choose to support a program based on an offensive or defensive scheme. I choose to support it because I love the program and that's what I want to do. And so Carter is not going anywhere. Now, next year, if we find ourselves here again at 5-5 or 4-6 or what, we might be having a different discussion. I don't know. But as far as this year goes, well, guys, I'm completely on board with this coaching staff, and we just got to move forward together. That's my opinion.
I agree with you. Not even next year. Even next year, if he goes 5-5 or 6 or whatever, 4-4, don't get rid of him because you, like you said, you need that continuity. Now, in year 3, I get it. If he's not performing, I get it. But this year, next year, hey, he's building his program. He's laying the foundation. We might not see the results on the field. It might be that slow build, but it should be worth it in year 3.
Yeah.
Like I said, it should be. We will see. But don't jump the gun. I get it. We want to win. I want to win every game by 50, but it's not always going to happen. And like you said, support. That's my team. That's my school. And I'm going to support. I'll be there every Friday night that I can.
Yeah.
No matter who's the coach. But I don't want to see 6 coaching 7 years or whatever, however many we on right now.
Here's all I ask. I'm trying to figure out a politically correct way to say this. I'm with y'all on Adam Carter not leaving. Okay, I don't believe that'd be a good move on the administration's part. I don't believe that could be a good move for the program. The program has been spiraling for a couple of years now. All right, we've watched it spiral.
That's fair.
It is what it is. It's the ups and downs of high school football. You can be dominant for 20 years, and then you may hit a slide where you're just not as dominant for 5 or 6 years. It happens. It happens to the best programs. I mean, look at Valdosta. Valdosta used to be the most dominant team in the country. It's been what, 7, 8 years since they won a state title?
Right.
So, and before that, it was, I don't even know how long before they won in 2016. So, all I ask, and this is me as a football guy. Okay, I want to see progress. Yeah. Maybe not wins and losses. And I'm not talking wins and losses.
I want to see player development. I want to see better footwork. I want to see better routes. I want to see better coverage. I want to see DBs using their hips, opening and closing their hips properly. I want to see safeties that are playing deeper. I want to see improvement on all aspects of the ball. I want to see linemen who have technique and who can block and who can pick up blitzes and things like that.
Yeah.
I want to see improvement. Improvements where I think everybody's so farsighted, all they see is state titles and region championships. If you want state titles and region championships, it starts with the techniques that you're teaching and the progression you can make within the program.
Sure.
So let's see some progress. Let's see some QB development. Let's see some more wide receiver development. Because let's face it, we got some wideouts.
Yeah.
I mean, we got some guys who can go get it and get it done. Let's see some line development. Let's see some defensive end development. Let's see some linebacker development. Give us small morsels, and you can appease the fan base doing some of those things, especially
Sure.
if they're realistic football fans and not fanatics. But you got to be patient. Rome wasn't built in a day. You don't build a house from the ceiling down. You build it from the foundation up.
Yeah, but
you don't build a ship from the inside out. You build it from the outside in.
Yeah, but the world was built in 7 days.
Yeah, let's face it, Adam Carter ain't God.
A little bit of levity there.
Yeah, I mean, you understand what I'm saying. Though.
Absolutely. I get what you're saying.
Our fan base, and I hate to use this as an example because I'm a member of this fan base too, but our fan base is really starting to remind me of FSU's there for a while.
Now, listen, I'm not going to go that far. I'm going to defend our fan base. Just because I created Viking Nation, this Facebook page, this channel, this program, everything that we talk about now, we enjoy. I created it for our fans, not for our players, not for our coaches, although they're integral parts of it, but for our fans. So if our fans want to complain, that's fine. Use it as a venue of complaint, but just be reasonable and be respectful.
Yeah.
That's all I ask.
But firing Carter's not the answer.
No.
It's not. It's not. And that's what I mean. It's always fire the head coach, fire the head coach, fire the head coach. Firing the head coach ain't the answer this time around, fellas.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, it's just not.
Now, I will say this. I will say that respect also goes both ways.
Yes.
If we're going to ask our fan base to respect our administration, our coaching staff, our middle school programs, then we also need to see respect reciprocated.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So, that's just fair, right?
Yeah. But you also got to remember, respect is given up front and earned in the long run.
Sure.
You also got to think about it this way too. And I just wish you got to step outside of your fandom.
Yeah.
Right. It just look at it. Just look at it from a distance. And it's just like Cornbread said, we've been.
Well, hold up, Tano. What did you just say?
Cornbread.
Professor is giving a lecture. Hold on now. The professor's giving a lecture.
I love it. I'm sorry for interrupting, Professor. I just wanted to make sure I heard you right.
But it's just like you said, like FSU, they had a standard of winning. Lions, we have a standard of winning. You have to think about it. Our first losing season since 1994. Losing season where we didn't win more than half of our games. The first time 1994 up until last year. So it's shocking. It's something that most of this generation has never experienced, right? And so a lot of these fans are new fans. Some of them are, because they weren't there in Joe Wilson and Rick Tomlin, well, the end of Joe Wilson and Rick Tomlin and the beginning of the Miller stages. They weren't there. They didn't witness that. But if you did, you'd appreciate what you got now. And what you have now is a program with a very high standard. And the fans demand it. But you also got to realize, just like Chase said, sometimes you have that slide. And we just got that slide right now. And it's not because of a lack of talent. It's more so about this coaching turmoil that we've had.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Absolutely. Now, I do disagree with, I can't remember, slightly disagree with Candace here. She says kids also have to be coachable, which I completely agree with. Teach your kids to be coachable no matter who the coach is. Now, here's the part that I disagree. And it comes from one of my favorite movies of all time, guys, and that's The Karate Kid, where Mr. Miyagi, why everybody knows who Mr. Miyagi, right? Why is teaching Daniel. And he's talking about the other sensei of the rival karate gang, that kind of stuff. So he's talking to Daniel. He says, Daniel-san, no such thing as bad student, only bad teacher. Right. So his point was students do what teachers teach. Players do what coaches teach. Yep. Sometimes they forget, but that's why you practice over and over and over again. So, that's I slightly disagree with Candace in what she was getting at.
Well, I know what she was getting at. She's getting at the old adage, and we still use it in coaching philosophy today. An uncoachable kid becomes an unemployable adult. So I get what she's saying, and by what she means by coachable is be able to take direction from a coach, be able to set yourself aside from what you think is the better thing for you to do at that moment.
Sure.
And do what the coach is telling you to do, because at the end of the day, he's making the decision whether or not you see that field. So you're going to do it his way, or you're not going to see the field.
Gotcha. Yeah. Candace is saying that's not what I meant. So if I misread that, Candace, then I apologize. That's the way I read your statement. So if that's not what you meant, then that's fine. So, I will say this. Okay.
And this is another thing that I think bodes very well for what Carter is trying to do at Lowndes.
Yeah.
Okay. Carter has implemented this program called character development.
Okay.
Okay. Where he's developing the character of these kids. He gets people to come in and talk to them in individual groups, where they're sharing life situations and they're learning how to answer life situations with character.
Sure.
So I think that in the long run, that will pay dividends for Lowndes as a whole. And I think that I will say this now. I think if you implemented it at the high school level, I also think you need to implement it at the middle school level. You need to have character development at the middle school level as well, because some of these kids at the middle school level, and you got to remember, I deal with all these kids on the middle school level on a regular basis. I interact with them. I talk to them. They talk to me. A lot of them feel like they're part of the program, but they're really not part of the program.
Okay.
So you need to trickle down some of what you're doing in the high school. They need to see it on the middle school level too, because let's face it, like Armand said, 2-3 years from now, those kids that are in 7th and 8th grade, they're going to be there.
Yeah. Yeah. You guys, you kind of, what I would hope that we would do. I just had this brainstorm. I would hope that we would do this during the off season, maybe during the spring when we're talking about, Touchdown Club membership drive, that kind of stuff. I wish we would have a big Lowndes fundraising open dinner, not a terribly excessive in cost. You're talking about $20, $25, but in the cafeteria where just about the entire or whoever's interested, Lowndes fan base shows up, fundraising dinner, whatever. And the keynote speaker that night is the head coach, Adam Carter. And he lays out his plan for not just the varsity team for the upcoming season, but lays out the plan for the middle schools. Because I'm told that during his interview, he laid out a really, really good plan for his program, including the middle schools. I would love to hear what that is.
Me too.
So, put it together in a big fundraising dinner. We all show up, raise a bunch of money for the program, and we hear what the plans are for the football program. I would love that. Wouldn't you guys?
Yeah, especially if we raise money to bring the silver lids back. We bring the silver lids back and to get him.
I love it.
I'm all for it. But yeah, you have to. I think the issue is that Coach Carter's new. He's new to. I think he coached at Valdosta, but he's new to the Lowndes community. So that would allow him to
Armand, let's not bring up that. Okay.
What, he coached at that other school? So did
That,
Joe
that,
Wilson.
that other school over there.
Joe Wilson did too for a little.
That's true. Okay. You got me.
It's all
Yeah,
good.
but Randy Mack spanked them at not one but two schools.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Jordan Johnson says, absolutely agree with you. That way parents and fans can understand the agenda. I love it. I love the idea. I'll reach out to the Touchdown Club, see if we can put something like that together. I'll promote the heck out of that.
Idea. Dude, absolutely. So would I. And you'd have so many middle school parents that would be on board and would show up in droves to hear that.
Absolutely, man. Shoot, man. If they don't plan it, maybe I'll just plan it by myself and just invite Coach Carter to come in and speak to the audience. So, which is a good way for us to fundraise for this organization. So,
yeah,
there we go. Yeah. There we go. All right, guys. Tomorrow night we got a big game against Camden County. What are your Armand? Since you're the defensive guy, let me talk. What does our defense have to do to slow down this wing T offense from Camden County?
It's very simple. Stay disciplined. You have to stay disciplined because you have to stay disciplined. Stop the dive. If you stop the dive, you take away a lot of what the you keep them off track. You got to get them behind the chains. Keep them off track because they want to get to second and 7, second and 6, third and 4. That's where the wing T lives at.
That's right.
So you have to stay disciplined. You have to keep them behind the sticks. Keep them off schedule, as we like to say. I also will tell you that you're gonna have to get some more manpower up front. You got to stack the box, and I don't know how you change that philosophy with the current defense that we're running, but hopefully they got something in store just for the wing T.
Yeah.
We will see, but it can't be too drastic it really could because nothing seemed to stop the run this year. So, but stop the dive, stay disciplined, and just go out there and have fun.
Absolutely. And I understand exactly what you're saying about get them behind the sticks, because if we find ourselves in 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3, they will beat us to death all night, 3 and 4 yards at a time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we got to get them in 2nd and long, 3rd and 6, 3rd and 8, that kind of stuff. And that really forces their hand to get out of their comfort zone.
Because if they're 4 and 2, it's fourth down, 2 yards to go, they're going for it. that's just what it is.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, Chase, your turn, man. What's your offense got to do against Camden's defense tomorrow night?
Got to get Leighton Proctor involved, number one.
Okay, I like it.
He's good over the middle of the field. He's got nice soft hands. He can make some nice catches. I think you need to exploit the middle of the field. If they run anything similar to what Richmond Hill did on defense, and I'm sure they've watched the Richmond Hill tape, and they're probably going to try to exploit that cover too, because they know we like to throw that short yardage out in the flats. Okay, sit in that cover two. Hit them with some corner routes. Make them safeties play towards the edges of the field and exploit the middle with Leighton Proctor.
Okay.
You've got Leighton Proctor. You've got Aiden Cease. You've got Jalen Carter. You've got to use them. In this game, you got to use them. And smoke's going to be a key factor in that, because you slip smoke out in a wheel route, and we all know Camden can't cover a wheel route. So slip smoke out in a wheel route. Run some play action with him. Let him drift out in the flats. Get the ball to him early.
Gotcha. All right. So John Carroll reminds me before we head on out tonight is don't forget your rally towels tomorrow night. So if you've already gotten one, bring it with the stadium tomorrow night. And if you don't have one, we're going to have another 1,500 printed to be given out free of charge for the first 1,500 fans to show up at the stadium tomorrow night. So there should be plenty of rally towels. So if you already have one, bring it. If you don't, first 1,500 gets one free of charge. So let's go ahead and show up in force, Viking Nation, and help our team make a playoffs. All right. So last question, guys. I'm going to put you on the spot like I do every week. Armand, do we make the playoffs tomorrow night?
We do.
Oh, I love it.
We do. It's going to be a low scoring game. We got to shut them out. Lowndes 17, Camden Donut nothing.
Okay. So if it's going to be 17-0, then we really need Richmond Hill to win that tiebreaker. So Colquitt's probably going to beat them, but we don't need Colquitt to run away with that score.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So Chase, what say you, man?
I'm gonna go a little different route. I'm gonna say 24-7.
So I'm assuming Lowndes wins 24-7.
Oh yeah.
David Behringer, what the heck, man? He's one of those Ohio State Buckeyes. He's saying Camden 24-17.
No. I see a different Lowndes defense showing up in this game.
Yeah.
I see a scheme directly designed to stop Camden.
Okay.
I saw them, and the reason I say this is, again, I follow the middle school programs. I follow the middle school coaches. I see what they do. They implemented different defense throughout the year for different run-heavy teams that look to run the ball down the middle.
Yeah.
So I really think you see a different Lowndes defense come out with a different look up front.
Gotcha. All right, guys, your last chance to look, a longtime friend of the program, a fellow Viking Nation super fan, Bubba Price, is joining us tonight. Welcome, Bubba. So, guys, this is your last chance to enter for your chance to win 4 VSU Blazer football tickets to the West Georgia game, 7 p.m. It's a night game on November 11th. Okay. And you get 2 T-shirts as well from the Viking Nation. So anyway, if you want to go ahead and enter for your chance to win, you got to do it a little bit differently tonight. Lisa Chapman, you got to do it a little bit differently tonight. Type in #respect, just like you see in the lower left-hand corner of your screen. #respect. I'll give you guys a couple more seconds, and then while I queue up this software.
LG, I think you ought to throw in a little perk for this giveaway. I think you ought to take a picture with the winner, with the shirts, wearing your LG cowboy hat.
My LG, where the heck is that thing?
Oh, man.
Oh,
We'll see what we can do. So go ahead and type them in. #respect. And we mean it, guys. We don't take for granted that you give up an hour and a half every Thursday night to join us on the Viking Nation Live. We don't take for granted that you could be doing so many other things throughout the week, but instead you choose to follow the Viking Nation and comment, engage on the content that we produce. And we appreciate you immensely for your loyalty to this organization and this brand. So please show up in force tomorrow night at the Concrete Palace so we can help our guys to win and earn a playoff spot tomorrow night. But regardless of what happens tomorrow night, we appreciate you guys and sticking with us every single week. So anyway, let's
back to Palace.
Absolutely. All right. So respect right there on the screen. So here we go. Good luck to everybody. Congratulations, Shannon Moore. Man, I just noticed that my nephew Gage Williford was tuning in tonight. He was the homecoming king of Lanier County High School this year. So appreciate you tuning in tonight, Gage, and we'll see you soon. So anyway, congratulations to Shannon Moore. Shannon, you've just won 4 tickets to the VSU West Georgia game on November 11th, as well as 2 T-shirts. I will reach out to you via Facebook Messenger after the show so we can arrange on how to get these prizes to you. So, guys, thank you so much for joining us this week on the Viking Nation Live. And as always, on behalf of Armand Rashad and Chase Garnto, I'm Larry Godwin, your host on the Viking Nation. May God bless every single one of you, and go Vikings.
Go Vikings.
Go Vikings.